morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Mary is feeling under the weather, so she is keeping her germs to herself, as she says, and staying in her office. But she thanks everybody for coming today and for the spread you guys brought to the veterans in support of Veterans Day from Friday. First off, accidents. We've had 3 rear end accidents already this year and a side swipe situation. So we need to make sure we're slowing down, that we're leaving more following distance between the vehicles in front of us, and check twice when it seems someone is going to go. When there's a stationary vehicle, if you guys don't think you can make it, call us in. We will come out and we will walk you through it, help you guys through, or if somebody's nearby that can help you, offer to go over there and help them out. Does everybody know what to do if you guys are in an accident, regardless of how big or small? You guys need to report it in. Doesn't matter if you hit a mailbox, if you hit a car, whatever, you need to report it. You need to call it to us. If it's something serious, if there's children on the bus, whatever, we will call 911 and get that started, and Mary or I will head out to the accident scene. If it's something minor, Mary and I are still gonna come out, but if it's a situation where we can send you on your way and we can deal with it, that's what we're gonna do. It all depends, but you guys gotta make sure you're reporting it. It's nothing like getting a call from somebody that says somebody hit my mailbox and drove off, and I know you guys don't always notice it. I try to explain that to people, that the tail swing on these buses, you don't feel it when you hit a mailbox all the time, or if you accidentally bump a car or whatever. But if you do know, you gotta let us know, so that we can come out and deal with the situation. December important dates. Brandy will be putting those in your guys' mailboxes, and she always emails them out as part of the daily reminders every day. Obviously, next week is Thanksgiving. So, the following schools do not have anything for the entire week next week. So, Geneva and the GELT program, Hampshire Middle School, Claire Woods, John Stewart, Markland, Seal, Giant Steps, St. Peter's, and the Sale and Maids program. All week off. They have all week off next week. Those schools do. That's part of the Sale 12 plus, those ones aren't going. The schools that will be in session next week is Batavia's in session Monday and Tuesday. Chance Light is in session Monday and Tuesday, along with Glen Oaks, Kretschke, Oswego, Metro Prep and High Roads go Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, but both have a half day on Wednesday. So if you have one of those schools and for some reason you cannot be in for your route, you need to let us know so we can get coverage ahead of time.
And that,
Yes.
what about Forest Academy?
Which one?
Forest Academy.
You know what, that one's not listed on here because it's a new school. Let me look into that one for you. Reminder, please do not add bus stops to your route. Do you guys understand the stress and the danger that that adds to a sub driver when they go out on your route and you got a student chasing your bus because they didn't know it was a stop that you guys added, or they got parents screaming at them because you missed their stop or whatever the case is? The sub driver's already got enough that they're going on a route that they don't know, let alone missing stops or getting yelled at by parents for picking them up in places that we didn't know we were going. If you guys feel we need to add or change a stop, let us know and we will review it. But we can't just willy-nilly start adding stops for the routes. Fill out your clock in, clock out sheets if you are plus or minus 2 minutes from your scheduled time, or 5 minutes if you're on a special needs route. Brandy's been having to adjust a lot of people's times, or question you about it because people haven't been turning them in. Christmas family. Every year, for those of you that are new, every year we do a Christmas family. The past several years we've done a local family, and I am still waiting to hear back from our student services department as to if they have a family for us this year. So I am working on that. The goal is to do that again this year though.
Is it food or money, or how do we?
Usually
participate?
what we do is we put up our Christmas tree, and on there, when we get the Christmas family, we split up all the items that they say they're in need of, and we put them on the tree, and then we do a food donation.
Oh.
So that they have a nice holiday meal, and then that the kids, and depending on if there's a lack of items for the kids, we've included adults on there as well. And one year we actually included pets because we burned through all the items so fast. We will put all those on the tree for them. Shop. Make sure that you guys are checking your cameras and that they're working daily. If you don't have both lights on, you should have an orange and a green light on. Means it's not recording. There are a couple of buses that the green light has burned out. The camera systems are about 10 years old. We're looking at getting new ones. But if the lights aren't on, let us know. And if yours is one where the light's burnt out, we will let you know that it's working. It's just a burnt out light.
I don't have one at all.
You don't have one at all.
No,
Which bus are you in?
68,
60. So you're saying you don't have any camera system?
no, the door is just flying open back and forth without a camera, so they close the door. I don't know, I don't have a camera.
Okay. Well, we might have to pull one from somewhere else. I was not aware we had a bus that didn't have a camera system. We will look into it. Bays 3 and 4. Remember to keep those closed. It's a high of 37 this week. The heat is on. I know it probably felt cold in there this morning because the heat was not working well. We have them coming out to look at that, but the heat is on in there, so if you leave that door open, all that heat's just blowing outside. When daytime highs are reaching only 32 degrees, so probably starting this week and next week, field trips are gonna be running out of here. So if you have a middle school route, you'll be assigned on a weekend a bus out of transportation. The only time you'll take your own bus for a field trip out of the middle school is on a school day. We do that so that you don't end up with a dead bus situation, one covered in amount of snow, whatever the case may be. And then if you're here at the garage, make sure you're plugging your buses in. The mechanics flip those on and off as needed. So we just ask that you guys plug them in regardless, and they will control the power to them as we need it. Any questions on that? Field trips. Winter sports have started up again, so the field trips are going to start picking up. So please make sure you're taking a look. As you guys all know, Kelly and I were gone last week, and one of the things I forgot to remind them about for field trips was that we have to put up multiple weeks this week because of Thanksgiving break. Unless you guys all want to come in on Wednesday next week and start bidding for field trips. So, today I'm going to be putting up, they have up next week up there, I'm going to be putting up an additional week because we need to make sure that everything's covered through Thanksgiving and the week after. I'm going to email it out and it's gonna get put up on the board today. But just so everybody's aware, there will be another sign-up sheet up there. All right. So, we are going to, I wanted to make a quick announcement about the field trips for tomorrow, which we have the leadership field trip. There's a little confusion on that one. You are picking students up at the high school and taking them to the schools that are on your sheet. So like Pamela has Harrison and Williamsburg.
What time are we picking them up at the high school?
You're picking them up at whatever your sheet says on there.
Okay, it says 9:45 for the first pickup, so it's 9:45 at the high school.
Yep, you're picking up at 9:45, and you have got 2 schools assigned to you, and you're taking them to those 2 schools, if you've got one of those trips. Alright, so we're gonna go over the danger zones and your mirror positioning. Alright, danger zones on your bus. Are 10 feet in front of you, 10 feet on the right side, 6 on the left, and from your duals back. Why 10 feet in front of you? Because you cannot see the ground in front of you, is exactly right. You get kindergartners directly in front of that bus, and you will never see them. That's why you gotta make sure that your crossing arm is working before you go out, because that sticks out 10 feet in front of the bus. They should be walking that far out. Why is the left side only 6 feet and the right side 10 feet? Correct. You are sitting on the left side. It is easier for you to look out that side window and see what's coming than it is to see what's on the other side. We all know when you get kids in the bus, you're not gonna be able to see out those windows. You're gonna have to rely on your mirrors. And then from your duals back, if you have your mirrors adjusted correctly, even from your duals back, the only spot you should be able to see is immediately behind your bus. You should be able to see 200 feet back. So, for those of you that are not aware or you don't remember, we have cones that are tied together so that you can pull up anywhere out on the lot, lay the cones out, and adjust your mirrors. Instead of having to try and park perfectly positioned at the very back of the lot to set your mirrors. So the cones sit in the same positions like they do on this diagram. If they are set correctly, with your top mirrors, you should be able to see 200 feet behind your bus and about a minimal side of the bus, about a thumb's width. If you were to stick your thumb up, out, and you're looking at your mirror, you shouldn't be able to see more than that of the side of the bus. Your bottom left mirror, you should be able to see the side of the bus and 6 feet out from the duals, or the second cone when you have them set out. The bottom right, you should be able to see the side of the bus and at least 6 feet out, but as close to 12 feet as possible. Generally, on a big bus, you can see 10 feet or more out. On a little bus, these become a little different because you've got more blind spots. On your left crossover, you should be able to see 1 foot out from your front wheel and 6 foot out from your rear duals, and the front half should be able to see 12 feet in front of the bus. So if you're looking at this as your left crossover, you should be able to see all the way up to see this far corner over here with your crossover. And then the opposite with your right crossover, you should be able to see all the way over to A, and then all the way over down here to this circle here, about 6 foot out from the rear duals. Your crossovers can see a lot if you have them positioned correctly, and those are your easiest ones to look at while driving down the road. Why is that?
Right in front of you.
Because they're right in front of you. You don't have to turn your head, you don't have to shift your eyes off of the road. Now, you should be, every once in a while, checking all of your mirrors. And a reminder that the mirror above your head is a student mirror. That is not a backup mirror. That is not what that is for. It does if you don't have kids on the bus that are blocking it. So it might work if you're doing it here, but even still, you've only got your select windows you can see out of. If somebody's walking behind your bus when you back up, and they're not in front of that window, you're not gonna see them. Alright. We all know everybody's going to run past your stop arm. I won't say everybody, a lot of people run past your stop arm. Too many people are in a hurry, concerned about what they're doing instead. Picking up and dropping off at a bus stop is the most dangerous area for a student. And obviously, that's where we're more than likely grabbing them or getting them from. And I believe the last safety meeting, Mary went over, she went over the statistics from that from last year, correct? So, the most dangerous one is people passing you on the shoulder when you are dropping off or picking up. Believe it or not, several thousands of people in the US pass the buses on the driver's side, driving down the shoulder, because they wanna get around you. It may not seem like that's possible, but they do it. There is a video of, we watched it one year, and I couldn't find it again. There is a video of a semi who was not paying attention. Bus was coming in front of him and blew past the door side because there was traffic coming on the passenger, or on the driver's side of the bus. Gotta make sure you're checking your mirrors when you're dropping off and picking up. If it happens and a vehicle goes around you, get as much information as you can. The police want the make, model, and license plate when we fill those out. If you don't have all of that, fill out an unusual occurrence report, or UOR, every time it happens. We do send those over to the police. And we cannot report it if we don't know what's happening.
I think eventually we'll get cameras on the stop arms.
With getting new cameras, we are looking at that.
Cause it's just hard, I mean, they're going
The-
so
the
fast, and
typical-
you're looking for your
yeah.
kids before you let the license plate.
Correct. The typical isn't that they're putting them on the stop arm exactly, as they're putting them below the stop arm on the side of the bus, so that one faces forward and one faces backwards. It also comes in handy with accident situations, because you can see what's going on around there. Yes,
What about the camera on my bus? Is that,
which camera on your
I
bus?
got that extra camera?
So that was one that we got from Sam Sarah, we got a 1-year trial out of to see them. In the brief period I was in Champaign, we had the Sam Sarah system, and I can tell you it does not work well for school buses. It's more meant for fleet, like semis and stuff like that. So we probably won't be continuing that way. I don't know if we're gonna go with keeping a dash cam or not.
It does the dash though.
Yes, it does. The ones, if you have the extra one in your bus, it's viewing out in front of you as well as the students behind you. Alright, now we're gonna watch a video on adjusting your mirrors. And yes, it is old, but it still applies today. The rules of how to set your mirrors have not changed. Alright, why is it still showing? There it goes.
Everyone knows that school buses are equipped with a variety of different mirrors for the driver to use when viewing the area around the bus. But what most people don't know is is that an alarming number of drivers don't have their mirrors adjusted properly. Consequently, they're not seeing areas around the bus which are critical for safe operation. As mirror manufacturers, we are faced with this growing problem on a daily basis. We test our mirror systems to the federal standards, just like other bodybuilders do. But unfortunately, we regularly see buses operating with these same mirrors out of adjustment. So we've decided to make a video which explains the contents of the federal standards governing school bus mirror systems. This video will also provide guidelines and procedures for you, the school bus operator, to make sure that your drivers have their mirrors adjusted properly. To ensure that the content of this program accurately covers this issue, we've asked Dick Fisher, a noted authority on school bus operations and safety instructions, to assist and advise us. Dick has been in school transportation for over 40 years and has been giving seminars worldwide to school bus safety instructors since 1977. We've posed some questions to Dick in order to give us some background on this issue.
What is the most dangerous area around a school bus?
There are many areas around the school bus that are dangerous. The most dangerous part is directly in front of the bus, and that is from youngsters load and unload who must cross the roadway in front of the bus. The last 25 years, there's been 415 students killed in front of the school bus, which means 415 youngsters have been run over by the bus itself.
Do some drivers have a larger blind area in front of the bus?
Yes, there is, because some drivers are taller, some drivers are shorter, some drivers sit lower in the driver's seat, some sit higher in the driver's seat. By adding those two factors, we have a larger blind area in front of the bus. Some drivers will have up to 25 feet blind area. In our video today, we will show you a grid that any school district or contractor may use to set up in their yard to show any driver the blind area in front of the bus. And then you can adjust the mirrors properly to see within their own blind area.
Can this video be used as a complete manual for proper mirror adjustment?
No, this video is intended mainly to show you that there is a dangerous area in front of the vehicle. The training programs you have in your school district or your operation needs to be more in-depth regarding the mirror use, when to use the mirrors, how to use the mirrors, what to see in the mirror as far as an object. And this is only a small part of that type of operation in your training program.
School bus mirror systems have evolved considerably since the development of the 8-inch convex mirror and tripod in 1954. Breakaway and swiveling mirror arms have become necessary features due to the high cost of fender and body repair, as well as mirror replacements. But the broad range of adjustments means that mirrors are constantly being moved. How can the operator make sure that his mirrors are properly adjusted? To arrive at the solution to this problem, let's take a look at how FMVSS 111 testing is performed. A series of 1-foot-high cylinders are placed around the bus in accordance with Figure 2 in the standard. 9 cylinders are located in front of the bus, with 7 additional cylinders on the sides. These cylinders need to be seen by the driver either through direct line of sight or indirectly via his mirrors. And the mirrors are divided into 2 separate systems: a cross-view system in front of the bus and the rear view or side view system on the sides. The cross-view system needs to show the tops of the front 9 cylinders, as well as the cylinders by the front wheels, and the 3-foot-high outermost cylinder by the right rear wheel. This cylinder needs to be seen by a cross-view system with certain image size constraints, which are beyond the scope of this video. The bus bodybuilder has already confirmed those image sizes, and you, the operator, need not reconfirm them. The rear view system is required to show the tops of the 4 cylinders nearest to the rear wheels, as well as 200 feet behind the vehicle. If it's possible that the mirrors may be moved each day, the average operator may wonder how to determine if the mirrors are giving the proper coverage on a daily basis. Actually, it's quite simple. The cylinders are not needed. All that is needed is a simple grid painted on the ground in the bus yard. We'll show you how to do that. Just mark off the locations of the cylinders as shown graphically on the chart that came with this video. We have added some additional markings. These spots, painted in red, are important because they are in between the FMVSS 111 rows. In a Type A bus, the driver can see the row of spots at 12 feet without using his mirrors, but he may not see the row of red spots at 9 feet. This is part of his danger zone, or blind area. He needs to make sure that his mirrors cover that area, even if FMVSS 111 doesn't have a row of cylinders at 9 feet. Also, we have added additional rows of spots, painted blue, at both 15 and 18 feet in front of the bus. These are similarly important because, as Dick Fisher mentioned, in a Type C or conventional school bus, the driver's danger zone or blind area in front of the bus actually extends out to almost 18 feet. Even though a school bus cross-view mirror system will be compliant to FMVSS 111, if it covers the ground 12 feet in front of the bus, many of today's cross-view systems can be adjusted to show 18 feet out as well. If you are concerned that FMVSS 111 requires that the tops of the cylinders, not painted spots on the ground, be seen in the mirrors, you need to know. These cylinders are 1 foot high. It is actually more difficult to see ground level. If you paint 1 foot circles on the ground at the same locations, and they are visible in the mirrors, then you would definitely also be able to see 1 foot above the ground. The basic grid should be painted in a bright color, with the rows of spots in front of the bus painted in several different bright colors. This will help the driver distinguish between the spots and determine if all are seen. Each time a bus leaves the yard, the driver should pull up to the grid and check that he sees the grid in his mirrors. The spots by the rear wheels should be painted in a different color for each bus type. This way, a driver can recognize his grid immediately, whether he is driving a Type A bus, Type C, or Type D bus. If adjustment is needed, it can be determined at the grid and remedied right away. No mirrors can be substituted for good judgment or training. In addition, cross-view mirrors diminish the size of an image considerably. No matter how small an object appears in the mirror, do not move the bus until you investigate further. As always, there can be no substitute for proper driver training. The contents of this video are intended for use only as suggested guidelines. If these guidelines are followed, operators and districts can rest assured that their drivers are seeing the proper field of view around the bus.
All right, so like I said, we have cones for you guys to do this. We also have a sheet that words it out just like the one I showed in the PowerPoint. That I can come out and help you, get your mirrors adjusted, if you guys feel that they're not the way they should be. Once you get them where they should be, and you get used to it, you'll notice once you get in there, when they're out of adjustment, somebody's
Do you
moving.
own your home in Illinois, but still rent your electricity? If you pay more than
Anybody need energy tips? Alright. So, anybody see the weather for this week yet? Calling for between tonight, tomorrow, and a little bit into Wednesday, we're calling for almost 2 inches of snow. You are professionals, that is correct.
I'm having teachers cut in front of me, in front of the school. What a bad example.
It is a bad example, and we can report it to the high school, but there's not a lot we can do about it at the high school for sped pickup. Because anybody with a sped student, whether it be a parent or a bus, is allowed to drop off in that cutout. And the security over there can't go over and ask every single person, is this a sped student, so we kinda just have to, unfortunately, wait our time. We can try and report it, but I don't think there's gonna be a whole lot they can do over there. Along with that, at the high school, we don't put out the stop arms in that cutout. If anybody wasn't aware of that, when you drop off in the sped cutout at the high school on McKinley, the stop arm stays in.
Hey, Matt,
Yeah.
I've been noticing too, more in diagonal, I don't know if anything can be done about that, but we've got students that aren't crossing at the ends, they're coming between the buses and stepping in front of the buses while you're
Oh, that's what you
first and second way. I don't have the first way, it's happening a bunch on second way.
Okay.
Kids are crossing between buses. I don't think that's
Well, and
very
that's in
safe.
the front, it's teachers are crossing
Right.
in between the sped buses.
Oh, okay, I thought you were saying people were cutting you off in their
No.
cars. Again, we can report it, but security is shorthanded just as much as we are, so if they're all over by the students, then we're not gonna have anybody by the teachers.
Right,
But at
right.
least they can make an announcement at the school and
Yeah.
let everybody know they're not supposed to, so we'll let the school know.
There was someone on Friday writing down stuff, I noticed,
Yeah.
when they were kids writing, going through.
Also, cause I've been asked a couple of times, there is a sign-up sheet Brandy put out for today. It's over on the table by the whiteboard. So when we're done, if you guys just sign your name on there so that you get credit for today. We can, but there was a lot of people over at the tables, I figured it'd just be easier. Alright, so with the weather coming, what extra pre-trip steps do we have when we got a snow day, a snowy day? For at least for the people that are parked outside, you guys are gonna have to clear off your windshield. You're going to, may have to clean off your hood. If you haven't done that or haven't experienced that, if you're driving down the road doing 40, there's gonna be a nice sheet of snow that's gonna plaster your windshield. It's not fun to try and see through that while you're getting it cleared again. So make sure you're clearing off your hoods. If it's not a cold enough day, again, 15 degrees or below, Jeremy goes out to the middle schools early and starts all the buses at the middle schools. So if it's a 20-degree day and your windshields are frosted over, start your bus and let it idle for 15 minutes or so until the windshield clears. Use your best judgment in that one, with your windshield being cleared or with it being fogged up or not. The problem we have with them idling at the schools is when you have kids in the building. It is an EPA law that you can't have the bus idling within 500 feet of the school when children are present. So in the mornings, you guys can idle them and get them cleared off. But we also don't need to be idling them for an hour. When Jeremy does it, he sets the high idle so that they actually generate heat. Them just sitting there doesn't generate anything. And if you don't have a snow brush, I would check your buses today to make sure that you guys have your snow brushes. The buses get changed every once in a while between here and the middle school, and sometimes it gets missed. So you guys should all have a snow brush if you're parked outside. Alright. Make sure you know the road conditions for the day. Check with dispatch other drivers, we're all coming from different directions. We know just about the road conditions from every direction. I'm coming from the west, Mary comes from the north, and between her and I, we talk with the superintendent and with the director of operations. They're coming from the east and the north, or in the south. We know pretty much what the roads are looking like prior to you guys getting here in the morning. But pay attention to the radio or your TV, news, whichever way you guys are getting it. But you never know what the roads are gonna look like. What can make the road slippery?
Blowing snow.
Ice. Black ice is the worst one. The ice you cannot see. And I can tell you, there's a couple of intersections that are notorious for it. Does anybody know which ones are it? The bridge right here. Why the bridge? Because there's air that moves underneath. That will ice over first.
And they don't solve it.
They try, but I've noticed Geneva, their first attempt at icing is they put down the liquid stuff that seeps into the ground. That doesn't work for the bridges. There's too much air flowing underneath. Other intersections that are bad is if you have to go out and pick up kids on Fabian. Fabian and Main Street in Batavia is notorious for it. Fabian and Mill Creek, that stoplight there is notorious for it. And it's because even though they're high traffic roads, there's giant gaps in between that it has time to build up and freeze over versus going through downtown where you've got tons and tons of cars cutting through.
This section right here by that building, the next building.
By the railroad.
Yeah, that, every year we see somebody slid off in the ditch in this area right here.
Yep. You guys gotta be careful when you're going down the road. Slow down when it's icy out. If you've got one of the kids on Brundage, you gotta go slow down that road, cause all it is gravel. We've had people slide into the ditch before. Yep, we've had it happen on La Fox, so it doesn't even necessarily matter that it's gravel road. Alright. Does the type of surface of the road have an effect when it's slippery out? It sure does. Why? Yep.
Asphalt,
What's that?
asphalt after first rain, oils.
Yes. Asphalt is a combination of oils and other rocks and materials, and when it rains, it gets slick, or when it snows and they salt it and becomes wet, that one becomes very slippery versus concrete. What about leaves? They are just as slick as an icy road out. And nobody likes the leaves in their yard, and especially we've all seen in Geneva, you can push them to the curb and wait for the truck to come and get them. And on a windy day, they start blowing right into the road. You guys gotta be careful when you're driving down the roads. Don't be like this bus. No, no, you'll be able to pick up all the kids on that one without an issue. That one probably is sliding downhill. It looks like they're coming down a slope. They've spun around sideways. I can tell you it's not a fun experience. I've not done it in a bus, but I've done it in my own car. It's not fun.
And the fire hydrant turns into a magnet.
Yes. Somehow, you will go straight into the fire hydrant.
School Training Solutions presents Skidding 101. Skidding occurs when the tires of a vehicle fail to get traction on a surface and start spinning or sliding. The chief reason for skidding is driving the vehicle too fast for existing conditions. There are 3 types of skidding. Oversteering, So, if you start to skid, what do? Take your feet off the pedals. As you begin to regain traction and control, brake gently for front wheel skid, or gently accelerate for back wheel skid. For more information, visit schooltrainingsolutions.com.
So how many of you have actually spun out in your car or bus before? Okay. So, how many of you, because I know it's not always mine, is your first reaction to take your foot off the pedal when you start spinning out? Some people, they've done it long enough that that's theirs. Not mine all the time. My first thought is they hit the brake. You want to attempt to take your feet off the pedals at all costs. I know that's not always the first reaction, but that is what's going to be best. And letting go of the steering wheel, let the car go where it wants to go. You're not going to be able to change it, especially if you're going across ice. It's going to go where it's going to go. So what's the most important thing to remember when it's snowy and icy outside? Slow down. Normally they say the following distance is a 4-second rule of thumb. If it is icy or snowy out, you need to double that. Especially if you've got a full load of kids. We all know the buses take longer to slow down when you're loaded. All right. Anybody have questions on anything? Yes.
What kills me is when you can go slow, but it's always the guy behind you. I'm like, what are you not seeing? You know?
That is a problem, because again, nobody wants to be behind the school bus. Doesn't matter the road condition, they don't want to be behind you. There's one year, I think I went to 3 accidents in the same morning because we kept getting rear-ended by people. I mean, it happens, but there's nothing you can do about it. All you can try and do is keep your distance from the person in front of you. And just be mindful of the person behind you. Anything else? Curtis?
What do you recommend as far as the use of hazard lights if you're going slower than the rest of the traffic? Some places, for example, if you're going 20 miles an hour or more in a particular zone, it might be a good idea to turn those lights on.
I don't think I would use hazards, because then people are gonna start trying to go around you. And that's gonna cause a bigger problem, especially when we've got bad road conditions out. I think when you got bad road conditions like that, while it may frustrate people, they all understand why you're going slow. I mean, I think we've all been there in our cars where we're frustrating the person in front of us when it's snowy out, but we're trying to go faster than they are.
Right.
So, anything else? All right, you guys are free to go.